Okay, cool. We don't need this stinking timer anymore. Welcome. Good afternoon. Want everyone to breathe in. Everyone to breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. You survived. You made it another day. You're one step closer to learning something today that you didn't know yesterday. And that's really all we can hope for. This idea that everything painful, everything uncomfortable is leading towards a discovery, a revelation. And hopefully today, when we're done this afternoon, you will know a little bit more about how markets move than you did when we started. If you're entertained along the way, that might be a happy accident. I was preparing earlier this afternoon, and a scene from a popular American sitcom came to mind. And I don't know how many of you have ever watched the episode of Seinfeld where the supporting character, George Costanza, played by Jason Alexander, comes to somewhat of a crossroads in his life. And he, in the conversations with his friend Jerry Seinfeld and Elaine, realizes that every decision he has made up to that point in his life was wrong. Every financial decision, relationship choice, every meal he's ever eaten, he decided, if I had done the opposite of that, I would have done better. And in that brief moment of realization, he decides he's going to change his order from tuna fish to chicken salad on rye bread, if I'm not mistaken. He yells back at the waitress and he says, please, I want you to change my order. I'm going to do the opposite of everything I've ever done. Jerry, being the comedian, says, if you really wanted to do the opposite, you would have gotten grilled salmon because those fish swim upstream and tuna fish swim with the current. I didn't think that joke was funny. And then in a spirit of adventure, he decides he's going to approach the woman at the counter who glanced his way and do the opposite of everything he's ever done. And he says, hello, my name is George Costanza. I'm overweight, I'm balding, I'm unemployed, and I live with my parents. And the woman at the counter says, hi. And she seems genuinely interested in George and his forthright honesty. And he almost can't believe that this is working. He's done the opposite of everything he's ever done in his life. What I'm hoping for most of us here today is that we have an encounter with ourselves. Trading ultimately isn't about you versus a million other people in the market. It's really a Rocky movie. It's you versus you. The psychology involved is profound. Books have been written, videos recorded, more seminars than we could probably count in a lifetime about mistakes people make when they're inside the markets, working from signal to signal, entry to entry. The person we're going to reference is a profound hero of mine post-mortem, he is probably the person, when asked who would you have lunch with, dead or alive, that I would choose without hesitation, not to ask advice, but to really brag. I would love to sit down with William Delbert Gann from Lufkin, Texas, and say, Mr. Gann, it's a profound honor and pleasure to be having lunch with you. You have a little mustard right there. You might want to, yep, nope, a little higher. Got it. I want to show you something based on what you taught me in your works. I think we've gone beyond, above and beyond, with the aid of computers and processing power and feedback from thousands of customers around the world. And we're helping people do the opposite of what they've always done. And when you said time was the most important factor in considering when to enter and exit markets, I want you to know that you were right. That's what I would say to him if I could meet with him. On my chart right now is an output from an indicator that we've had for many years. Many of you have it and own it and use it. Before you ask me, I'm going to display the settings on my screen for customers at home. This is a 369 look back with 10 years of historical data loaded and a swing strength of 8. 369 with a swing strength of 8 on crude futures. And you'll notice on the chart that there's something different. This chart is different from whatever exactly, Bill. If you understand the secrets of 3, 6, and 9, you know the secrets of the universe. My chart. Hey, Brian. Do I want to dismiss you or promote you? Let's see. Depends on the time of day. Last couple of days. The consummate professional. I will find a way to promote you here. Now you should see what everybody's got. This chart is what Gann spoke about in the period of time that he lived. Muhammad, I'll step back a little second. I want to keep you in line with the 369. Early in the last century, there were 3 men who had a profound impact on the way most people trade today. Most profitable traders that I've met, at any rate. Ralph Elliott of Elliott Wave fame described a market that was predictable based on market structure and wave theory. Richard Wyckoff, author of Ticker and Investment Digest, believed that watching volume was the only true way to predict what direction markets would move or reverse. William Delbert, good old WD, was their contemporary. In fact, Richard Wyckoff wrote about him in an article featured in Ticker and Investment Digest. He specifically had people follow Gann into the market, watch and record his trades, and validate or invalidate his claims of success. Gann obliged Mr. Wyckoff, and the now infamous article reports and attests to Gann's profound ability to predict where markets would move based on time. Mohammed, what's interesting about this renaissance in trading, what's the good word for it? Analysis, is that these men lived alongside and were contemporaries with gentlemen from an alternate renaissance. Gann's timeline, represented on this chart by the cyan line, you'll see as Bill alluded to earlier, that Gann lived alongside of men like Einstein and Nikola Tesla. Tesla, a profound numerologist, had a belief in the power of certain things, most notably vibration, that everything in the universe was vibrating down to energy, including alternating current, which powers all of the homes in the world today. Einstein also believed in vibrational theory and spoke about how when you stare at solid objects, you're really looking at an innumerable number of electrons and protons and nucleons vibrating back and forth, and most of what you're looking at is empty space. Well, Tesla spoke specifically about three numbers that he was specifically excited about. If you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe. And it was rumored that Tesla, when he stayed at the hotel he lived in, would only stay in rooms divisible by the number 3. And so when we look back at what Gann said, he specifically spoke about how he researched and investigated all of the available and known sciences at the time of his life. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, I couldn't come to memory quick enough. And so, Bill, I believe that Gann followed the works of Tesla and Einstein and anybody he could get his hands on. And they knew something over 100 years ago that we're only just discovering now. So, Mohammed, when you see the settings on my chart and they reference the numbers 3, 6, and 9 weeks ago, I'm tapping into, I don't want to call it ancient knowledge, but wisdom that most people have forgotten. So on this chart, we have essentially 3 things happening simultaneously. Number 1, and most importantly, on the right-hand side of every chart I'm going to show you today, we have a possible and probable future. A possible and a probable future represented by the bottom histogram of this chart. All of the times below the 0 line of this chart represent probable and highly possible movements in time in the future. These movements in time are based on the works of Gann, who said, if you study the time periods and the time cycles, you will learn why tops and bottoms are found at certain times. This is based on the man who said, by a study of the time periods and time cycles, you will be able to tell what the future is. And if you don't believe me, we can go back and reference what he said. By studying the past records of the markets, you will be able to prove for yourself that history does repeat, and that by knowing the past, you can tell the future. So trading is ultimately about the future. What is going to happen in the next 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days? Our software goes back in time and discovers the patterns in the data that are obvious to an electronic brain. Most human beings are not, we're not equipped to see this on any given day. In fact, I believe banks understand this and they exploit it. There's a study done where they discovered we suffer from something known as the recency effect. We only pay attention to the thing that is happening right in front of our faces. And professors have studied time and time again how we disregard historic behavioral patterns and we go right back to the things that hurt us. If you've ever been in a relationship and someone says, he keeps picking the wrong type. That type is so wrong for him. We all succumb to this idea of it'll be different this time. It'll be different this time. Well, this software says you're an idiot. Remember what the old timers said, if you study the past records of the markets you trade, you'll be able to predict for yourself what the future might hold. And if you study those past records, you can predict what markets will do in the future, because we are ultimately, at a human level or an institutional level, creatures of habit. So these are the dates in the future where we expect selling pressure, represented by the blue lines, and where we expect buying pressure. And I wanted to show you this chart in particular because even though the world's on fire in the Middle East right now, prices have been dropping. Prices have been falling with regards to crude. And I found that interesting, and I went to the markets today and I loaded the study for oil, and I noticed that the software had warned me about a selling pressure time on May 11th, and that pattern was to continue until May 20th. And in fact, when I looked at the last several signals, I saw that we were alerted to buying pressure on February 26th, selling pressure on March 23rd, buying pressure on May 5th, up until the 13th. It ended up being the 14th, selling pressure until April 20th, and then buying pressure until May 11th. Now, I think that's pretty cool, but it's only the tip of the iceberg today. It's only the very tip of the iceberg. And you see, on this side of the chart, we have the prediction versus the actual move. This is the, what's a good way to say it? This is the track record of the guesses. This is the track record of the analysis. So Mohammed, the only reason we pay attention to these signals on the right-hand side is because when we look back at the left-hand side, going pretty far back, right, there seems to be a correlation most of the time with our expectation in alignment with reality. What we were expecting to see is actually taking place most of the time. Now, if you were here at last week's webinar, you know that we've been studying the E-mini S&P. It's probably the one market with regards to futures traders that destroys most people's accounts. How many of you have lost more money than you care to admit in this webinar? And I'll only see it. Don't worry, I'm going to take screenshots and put it on our Facebook page as soon as you admit it. How many how many of you have lost a substantial amount of money trading the E-mini S&P? Yep. Yep. Yep, me too. We lost, my trading partner and I, we lost $50,000 in 36 hours trading the S&P back in 2008. That was the birthplace of this company. And we decided that we were, like George Costanza, not going to order tuna on whole wheat anymore. We weren't going to do it anymore. We were going to be different. And we were going to study the people who actually made the money, Bill. We were going to study the institutions and see when they moved and in what direction, and see if we could predict it. So what was interesting to me, when the world was screaming and everybody was bleeding, I knew from last week that our prediction, our behavioral forecast based on institutional recurring behaviors, was up from April 19th until Thursday, May 6th. And now, until May 28th. Now, what's interesting about that is this was a coordinated, pre-programmed attack. How many of you believe that what's happening in the markets right now, in some way, shape, or form, was known by the large players of the global financial cabal? It's very conspiratorial. But if you do this for more than a year, you begin to see a lot of shenanigans happening in the markets, and you begin to put two and two together. Well, I want to position a thought here and just kind of help you understand the way I look at the markets in relation to what we've been seeing. Now, Bill, over in October 9th, can you see we had a pretty large drop off right here? I'm going to come and I'm going to measure the drop off of that predicted sell-off on the 9th. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to measure the sell-off off of that predicted fall. And then, Bill, I'm going to come over here from February 18th and I'm going to measure the height from that predicted fall. So all I'm doing, Bill, is I'm accounting for what the banks usually do when they agree it's time to end it, right? So I'm going to take each of these triangles and I'm going to copy and paste up to here, all three of them. And I call this an exertion analysis. And when I align these triangles together, Bill, I'm going to get a rough idea for how far on average they push and what the outlier is in terms of the worst we can expect. It's not really fractals or harmonics. This is more of when the turds get together and cause panic, how far do the turds push? It's a little more pedantic, right? A little less ethereal. Well, if I look at this chart, in the scope of that, Bill, do you notice where they drive to most of the time? And then ultimately, if this is the end of the world, where does that say? 3960? So we had two signals here, and then another one underneath it. How many of you think this is random? What's happening here? Doesn't look very random to me. This looks like they had a plan. In fact, there are other markets that I'm reading about right now. A lot of articles today about the demise of Bitcoin. All of a sudden, Bitcoin's dropping like a rock. How many of you remember when Musk said he was going to accept payment for his cars in Bitcoin? And then he said he changed his mind. He changed his mind. Well, let's take a look. What does that say? February 8th. Musk is going to accept Bitcoin. February 8th. Do you guys see where I had my breakout signal right here? In our trading system, I'll go over this with you in a little while, Bill. We actually call the breakout of a counter trend signal as a long. And you see here where it says February 8th on the bottom of my chart? This is when Musk said he was going to accept Bitcoin. And now, right over here, he decides a couple days ago, not going to accept it anymore. Can't do it. It's going to hurt the environment, Mohammed. Did you know that? It's going to hurt the environment. What a coincidence. Because we were expecting Bitcoin to drop on May 12th. Right here, we said it last week. We called it. Here it is. There's the signal. Next buying opportunity is May 24th. This kind of thing happens every day, on and on and on and on. They get caught manipulating the market all the time. If you go back and look at JP Morgan, and we're going to go into specifics, JP Morgan just settled a lawsuit for something known as spoofing. $1 billion. Bill, do you know what spoofing is? Spoofing is making it appear as though orders are in the market that are not there. If you can fake orders, can you fake what the RSI is doing, or what the MACD is doing, or what order flow analysis is doing? Can you fake what volume signals are telling retail traders? So if 90% of people are losing 90% of their accounts in 90 days, and 100% of those 90% are looking at lagging indicators, it's sort of an electronic Pied Piper. And yet, as long as I've been watching, most of the gurus and companies continue to sell regurgitated versions of the same tools that are being used to fool traders every day. I used to like this guy. I used to really like Musk. I'm on the fence or over it at this point. I'm kind of tired of it because I've watched every announcement right at the prediction. I've watched him goose the stock price up, and I have this horrible feeling a lot of retirement funds and investment accounts are in for a beating in the short term. When we wanted to help ourselves, ultimately this was a very nepotistic endeavor, Bill. My partner and I were sick of losing, and we were sick of spending money with people who, quite honestly, to descend into the vernacular, sucked. Muhammad, anyone that you've ever heard in a list of the top richest men in the world, when we talk about Jeff Bezos, when we talk about Bill Gates, when we talk about Warren Buffett, when we talk about Elon Musk, you don't leave things to chance. You don't. In the last crash, I specifically remember reading about Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's fund, mysterious, unexplained trades in Goldman Sachs in the early pre-market. Stuff was happening. They still don't talk about it. Orders were being placed that people didn't know about. There were all sorts of weirdness around it. And he bought it, I think it was $14 a share. Remember that? And then, Bill, it was his biggest profit ever, like a year later. It was like $2 or $3 billion. That's $1,000 million times 2 or 3. No one ever goes to jail. No one ever gets caught. Ever. 2008, only one trader went to jail in the mortgage derivatives scandal. One guy. And he wasn't even American. He was a trader over in Europe. So what we do, yeah, Brian, don't start. Easy. I got to put my tinfoil hat on. Whew, it's crunchy. I just got far enough away from that, Brian, where I was living a normal life. Don't drag me back in. There's some things we can't prove, And I know more about iron ferrite globules than I should know. Let's put it that way. Sphericals, iron ferrite sphericals. And if you know what iron ferrite sphericals are, then welcome to my weird cave. And I'll see you at the meeting later tonight. All right, what we do to prove that this is happening, because we didn't believe it at first. When I first turned our program on, Bill, I'll be honest, I thought it was broken and it wasn't working right. And I turned to Ron, my partner and best friend, and I said, I think it's measuring what's happening right now. And he said, no, it's the future. I said, there's no way, because it's doing exactly what it said. And he said, yeah. So when we look at a chart like this NQ chart right here, I'm just picking them at random here today, working from left to right. Bill, can you see the signals on the chart here, the last few of the afternoon? I want you to see what really happened. I had published on Tuesday afternoon forecasts for Wednesday and Thursday in the popular futures and Forex markets. And there's the one for the 1 minute NQ. And that's been around since Tuesday afternoon. Okay, so Bill Caps. Hey, Bill, Luca. Luca, Lely. All of these signals, Bill, have been around since Tuesday night. Thousands of people download them, copy them, screenshot them so I can't change them. It is the ultimate, quote unquote, ballsy move. Well, take a look. 3:11. This is all Eastern time, not Easter time, Eastern time. 3:11. 3:11. 3:30. 3:30. 3:48. Double top. Bill, look, with a stop run. There it is. 3:48, which just broke the prior swing high. All those traders got sucked into the long. Everybody's wondering, why isn't it going up? Why isn't it going up? It goes up a little bit more. A few thousand trades get placed. A few more people place longs. Why isn't it going up? Why isn't it going up? Market closes. These signals are the farthest ones from the predictions I gave on Tuesday night. They are the oldest signals and therefore the hardest statistically to get right. And when we look at the entirety of the market with regards to those signals, Bill, here's lunchtime forward. We were expecting a move down at 12:34. The move before that was up. A move up at 12:44. A move down at 12:54. A move up at 105. A move down at 120. A move up at 126. A move down at 136. It goes down, finishes just slightly lower, and then the trend reverses up at 150. Look where 150 is. And we all go back to here. I can just slide this over and see 150 on my screen is a time and a direction that we've known about since when? Yeah, it's almost like there was a plan. Now, I want you to think back to my George Costanza opposite. My George Costanza opposite example. Remember that? This guy right here. Every trader, Bill, that was in the 1235 signal was long. Every retail trader at 1244 was short. Every retail trader with conventional tools and conventional gurus was long at 1254. Every one of these signals, most futures, forex, equity traders were in the opposite position. They were placing trades and they said to themselves, if I only took the opposite trade of every signal I get, I would be a millionaire. Now, you don't have to admit it to me, but how many of you have said that to yourselves at some point during a day like yesterday or today? I'm always picking bottoms, picking tops. I'm always getting sucked into these things. I swore I would never do this again. I have a trading plan. I had a signal. I back tested it. Why do I keep doing this? Opposite Costanza. That's what these charts represent. If we come back and we look at the market that JP Morgan admitted they manipulate. They admitted they do it all the time. Precious metal and gold futures. That should be the one after they got caught. Bill, that should be the one that they never do, where we shouldn't be able to predict any of the moves in gold. Would you agree? Everybody's watching. Everybody's watching. Let's see. Let's see. Here are the signals that we were expecting an institutional behavior pattern to occur at from the Asian session through the US session and its close. And I'm just going to remind everybody that the blue signals were times we were expecting probable selling pressure. That's it. I'm not going to comment on the signals. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to put a blue line above the candles where that pressure was expected, just to highlight with your eye, make it a little easier to see when, as of Tuesday night, we were expecting to see those signals. Okay, you with me, Bill? Now, the similar concept applies to the base. This is a market that JP Morgan has paid nearly $1 billion in fines for being caught manipulating the prices of. We should not, on any planet, in any alternate Marvel's universe, be able to track what happens. It should be efficient and random and uncontrolled. And yet, when we go back and we put a white line at the times we were expecting buying pressure, there's an anomaly. Your brain goes, whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on. Hang on. What? No, no, it's still broken. It's still broken. They're still doing it. So I need to ask you, there's a popular meme. I say this to my kids at least once a day when I see something weird going on. I say, what is happening right now? Right? When I look at this chart, this is my face. I have no idea what's happening right now. Why is this working? This should not be working. when this chart has as many signals going up and down 2 days after I publish the forecasts, it tells me that the banks are still doing what they're doing. They'll always do what they've been doing. And so we sort of work our way around the popular markets to see if what's been happening is still happening, right? What's this? If you look at Forex markets, here's the pound dollar on the 5-minute chart. Bill, does it look like they're still doing crazy crap in the Forex market? Let's scroll down. Again, I have no control over this at this point. I already published these times. Let's go ahead and slide it over. 9:15, 9:45, 10:10, 11:30. Here we go. Hey, let me check something here real quick. I want to make sure I have my data feed. Yeah, no, this is old Forex. It's not matching up. Let me load today's. That's better. Times didn't look right. Here we go. These were the signals I gave out. Here's the Asian market, 9:45, 11:20 Eastern, 1:40 a.m. Eastern, 2:45 Eastern, 3:40 a.m. Eastern, 4:50 London market coming online. London session 5:50, 6:55, and then a failure at the 7:15 signal. And then Bill, right here at the unemployment report where the poop starts to hit the fan, 8:30, it goes straight up. How random do you think Forex is? Here's the 60-minute chart. Those of you who take longer Forex positions. What's going on here? Everything you see on the left-hand side of the chart is what was forecast, what was reported as likely to occur. Everything you see on the right-hand side of the chart is what's expected to happen next. So if you trade Forex and you observe on the pound dollar that we've had a triple top here, mini head and shoulders pattern, whatever you want to call it, the trend at this point is down. Profit taking is occurring from 8 o'clock this morning until 10 o'clock this evening. And if the next cascading event is going to occur, Bill Muhammad, it's likely to occur then, isn't it? A higher than average probability. And if it were me, I would be paying attention to this high right here. And Bill, I'd be looking for them to suck traders in just above that high right there. And then another potential bleed off. I have no idea what it's going to do there. But I envision if I were crooks and thieves, those are the areas I would trip the stops out at if it was me. Any questions about this so far? Because I didn't come up with this. Here's a little known fact. I didn't invent this. I love this slide. I put the discoveries of other great men together, only I didn't use a pencil and a piece of paper like Wyckoff or Eliot. or good old WD-40. I let a computer do the work. I've been building things my entire life. I've been building work aids for people. I have an engineering degree. I spent the first 15 years of my life in a machine shop, making machinery for men and women in factories to do their jobs easier, to make more money, more efficiently, less work, less stress, work aids. Nobody would get fired. It wasn't automation, it was semi-automation. We would make a device that helps somebody do their job, less injury, higher output, higher pay. And when I came to this, and we looked and saw what was available in terms of the powerful programming languages of platforms like NinjaTrader, Interactive Brokers, and the like, and what we needed to accomplish, looking for these behavior patterns that Gann said were there, we saw an opportunity to streamline a centuries-old technique. And so this isn't anything new. This is something that's been happening for over 100 years, right? The guy who first decided to stand out on that very narrow limb, that very narrow branch, said, time is the most important factor of all. And not until the time has expired does the next big move start up or down. That's 1941. That's 120 years ago. Muhammad, it's not supposed to work. But again, these were men who discovered things that were timeless, right? These were men that discovered things whose concepts never evaporated or eroded. Any questions at this point? I want to walk you through one method we use and teach new customers to trade our software with. These are signals. These aren't setups. We don't suppose that you'll buy and sell at every signal, although in some cases it looks like you could. Certainly in the euro dollar today, that wouldn't have been the worst thing. Yeah, you can see the whole day. Hold on. Here you go. So Muhammad, was the euro dollar manipulated? London through US session using the times I published 2 days ago? And again, you don't have to believe anything I say because the times were published 2 days ago. That's the best part of this. It doesn't matter if you think my jokes are funny. It doesn't matter if you like my political stance, whatever you think it might be. It doesn't matter that I like Brussels sprouts if they're cooked just right till the outside and bottom parts are caramelized with a balsamic glaze, and you have an adverse reaction to Brussels sprouts and it makes you want to go, ugh. None of that matters at all. What matters is, did it work? What matters is, did it work? So let's take a look at one market real quick as we start to wrap up. I know this is supposed to be an hour-long video or an hour-long presentation. And I want to kind of walk you through some signals on a market that we get a lot of questions about. And I know a lot of people are wondering about this one. Nobody have a seizure. Here we go. This is the mini Dow. When I turn on the TV, everyone's saying, the Dow fell 5,000 points today. The Dow rose. The Dow blah, 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 blah. So, Bill, we're going to look from the unemployment report forward today. From the unemployment report forward today. Now, in the link that I send out on Tuesdays. I do two other things. Well, just one really. Number one, I put the link for the webinar, which is today, along with the times for people to study. And then I put this section in here. We'll also be showing how the signals can be traded using one of the two entry rules. And then I post a link to a video. The first signal we'll measure is a signal with trend. The second we'll measure is a puncture trade per the video link above. I'll be using a maximum 1.5 ATR volatility stop, 7-period ATR, when we demonstrate the setup on Thursday. That's today. So Mohammed, what the heck does that mean? Well, first, I want you to see that in the software, I have all of my dots and stop lines set to 1.5 average true range values away from the signal. So at any given point in time, wherever the low or high of the candle is, I can determine how far away I want my risk to be, concurrent with the volatility at the time. This is a dynamic measurement of risk that changes as the volatility of the market increases and decreases. As volatility increases, the risk and consequently the reward increase. As the market slows down and consolidates, the risk and ipso facto, the reward, simultaneously decrease. So in the video page, I want you to see that's what I said I would be using. You're welcome. And so Bill, you can see that it's set to that here. Okay, so Eagle Scout honor, that's what I am, 50-year-old Eagle Scout, back before all the insanity in the news. That's what I had. Now, the first trade that I showed in the video is called a signal with trend. And Bill, in the video, I specifically mentioned using a 120-period exponential moving average. Now, there's nothing magical about that number. There isn't. It's just a moving average that was taught to me by someone whose uncle was a pit trader. That's it. And I found it worked really well. And so I kept it, I use it, and I ask people to trade with it if they find it's useful. In the video, and I won't go through it right now, you can go back and watch it again, I say this. At the signal, if it is above the moving average at the time, we're going to enter at the close of the candle. So Bill, at the close of the 739 candle, we're going to go long. So right around here, 406. I'm going to hold that signal, Muhammad, until the opposite time for this whole window. If the banks are going to do the voodoo that they do again, I want to try to squeeze every ounce of that malfeasance I can. And so in this case, the close of the 903 candle, following the rules of the video I gave you on Tuesday, reveal a 118 tick or a $500+ hypothetical trade. Now that's signal with trend number one. You'd say, well, you wouldn't know, and how do you know? I did know. Remember, we knew these things in advance. So there's less stress. There's less anxiety. When's the next move? Am I going to get in? As soon as I get in this trend. Bill, finish my statement. Everybody, finish my statement. As soon as I get in this trend, it's going to blank. Pretend we're on a game show. As soon as I get in this skyrocketing trend, it's going to go against me. Exactly. That'll be the high. And you sit and you watch it continue to go up and up and up. And then you can't stand it anymore. And you do what? You get in and it goes immediately against you. The next signal in the direction of the trend that we've known about since Tuesday is 909. 909 is the next signal. We enter at the close of the candle with a 1.5 ATR stop, 535. And Bill, I'm going to hold that until the end of my window. That's a 154 tick signal, $750 per contract. So we're up around 1,200. The next signal with trend is 1021. Following the rules that we've known about since Tuesday night, the close of the candle is at 940. It's the low close candle in between two bullish candles. And we're going to grab about 2/3 of that move and get out at 1039 with a measly 53 ticks. Now, so you know this is real, the next signal is a loss. We take a loss. We give back just about everything we made in the prior signal. Womp womp. The next signal, the close of that candle, Bill, is at 12:12, lunchtime, and lo and behold, we finish 7 ticks down, fire in the hole. In 12:33, we have a sell-off. It ends with a 133 signal closing below the 120 period moving average. It closes above the moving average at 145. That candle closes below the moving average. And now, Bill, when it closes like that, the stop goes 1 tick above the crossover candle per the video. So I enter at the close of that short candle below the MA, and I hit my stop right above that crossover candle, minus 55. Now, what's coming next, boys and girls? What's coming next? What are we waiting for? That's right, 2:15. And 2:15, the train is a-coming. And by the close of the 248 candle, we've gone back. And right here, we actually have a small loss. So in the moves in the morning, let's add it up. Let's add it up. We're up 118 plus 154 plus 53 minus 61 minus 7 minus 55 plus 59 minus 22 is 239 ticks times 5 hypothetical dollars per tick is $1,195 per full size YM contract, $120 approximately minus slippage and commissions on the micro lot. Using signals that we've known about in a trading system that we gave you 2 days ago. And as we go back in time, you see that if you're trading in the London session, Muhammad, did you do okay in the overnight on the way down? Look here. Bill, what if we knew to sell short at 142 and 318 and 415 and 512 and 630? What if you knew that in advance? Would that help you maybe? Nothing's for certain. But if you understood what the time cycles were, we'd have a shot, right? Okay. Any questions about that? Potentially. So we have a problem now. Now we have a problem because the times are available for tomorrow right now. The times are available for Monday right now, for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. I have them right now. And a lot of you have them already because you're customers. The future is available to us. The behavior patterns distilled from the noise of the market's past are sitting waiting for us to act upon. Time is the most important factor. The most important. And we've spent the last 12 years building this for you and perfecting it for one reason. One very specific reason. You don't really have a chance. The minute you wake up and say, today's the day I'm going to use my smarts, I'm going to use my intelligence, the power of my steel will, my determination, my steadfast trading plan, my super powerful computer with my very fast fiber optic internet connection. Today, I take from Goldman Sachs what's mine. Yeah, good luck with that. For every 2 or 3 customers that send us testimonials, I probably get 20 or 30 emails from people saying, Michael, I saw your webinar 5 years ago. I wish I'd have bought your software. I had a customer write me today say he's lost $40,000. How can I help him? It's a lot of money. Every day you wake up, you are playing a game with people who have no rules, who own congressmen and women in both parties, by the way, who have people in positions of power in the presidential administration of every candidate, going back through Reagan, through Clinton, through both Bushes and Trump. There were more Goldman Sachs associates in the Trump and Obama administrations than the previous ones put together, I think. You think they care? Their friends at the Fed print more money. Do you want to know why lumber has a 300% increase in prices? Do you want to know why gas is spiking and orange juice is spiking? Do you want to know why virtually every commodity in the world costs more this year than it did last year? It's not COVID. Their buddies just print more money, and the value of the dollar goes down, and it takes more of those to make a purchase at the grocery store. Those are the people you're trading against. And so ultimately, it's about this. What is trading? If trading is knowing what just happened, if trading is knowing what happened a little while ago, then you should not listen to a word I say, because there are 100,000 free indicators. There are gurus who want you to come watch them trade for a week for $10,000 in their house. There are plenty of alternatives to what you've seen here today that's easier to swallow and understand. I would posit, however, that trading is not about knowing what just happened. If banks and investment institutions can spoof lagging indicators, if they can make them look like they want them to look, and lure most people into the opposite side of the trade they're taking, then the alternative must be true. We must focus a substantial amount of energy, of effort, of investigation, of learning how to predict using modern predictive modeling, modern predictive technology, using their systems against them. The image that I love, and I know I'm scooting around all over the place here today, this is how most people trade. Right there. Hold my beer, I got this. Got a $5,000 account. I'm going to make $2,500 today. Woo! Here's how our customers trade. Everywhere you go, I'm going to be there. Every time Rothschild at Goldman Sachs turns the algo on, he's going to look back and say, who's this guy, Bill Capps? What do you mean? He just placed along when we fired up the algo. And you guys know Bill Capps? I've never heard of him. He keeps placing trades when we're trading. How much is he making? Enough? Try to shake him. All right, let's see. Let's see if he let's see if we can shake him here. All right, I'm getting ready to go long at 125. Let's see if he goes short. I'm sure. I'm going to do a stop run right here, and Bill for sure is going to go short. What's he doing? Did he go long? Yeah, he went long. Well, how long is he holding it? That's what I want for you. That's what I want for you. And that's why I love what I do. I found a job where I get to build stuff for people, and they get to be David to the Goliaths of this world every trading session. We love this stuff. We believe everybody deserves a fair shot. Even if the game is rigged, you should have a couple cards up your sleeve too. That's what we believe. Everybody needs a fair shot. If we're all going to play the game, we should all know what the rules are. And if the rules are we're going to cheat, everyone should know when they're going to cheat, or have the ability to look if they want. That's it. What do? We're going to give you the tool. It's a lifetime license. We're going to teach you the setup during your free training sessions. We're going to give you the workspaces and the templates in the markets you trade. I trade soy meal futures. Good for you. Here are the settings for soy meal futures. I trade the ruble peso. It's a very exotic pair. Knock yourself out. Here's the settings. Das vidanya de nada. Train you how to use it. 10 years, 12 years, 600 webinars. There's no market. I set this up on a customer trading the Indian Nifty. Oh my God. The Indian Nifty looks like New Delhi from 100 feet up. Had to walk away for a minute. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't hurt. But it worked. We got it working. I want to tell you about the discount, but I wanted you to see today that everything I've shown you is based on the unadulterated truth. None of the signals I showed you were repainted. They didn't disappear and reappear. They were all based on the times that we've been looking at, that I told you about, that we've been waiting for weeks and months. And so this is what I believe the truth of the market really is, what the rules of the market really are. Now, if you want it, and you don't have to want it, some people want to not know. Believe it or not. Some people like the spontaneity of trading. Some people like the adrenaline rush. They like walking into the office on Monday and telling Bob in accounting how silver futures raked them over the coals. Took me to the cleaners, boy. People are weird. There's a great line from the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray and Annie McDowell. He says, people like blood sausage, Rita. People are morons. And I'll never forget that line. This is the program, our flagship product that I've been demonstrating for you the last hour. There's a customer here who says, Email if you like for an independent referral. He's happy to speak with anyone who wants to talk to an existing customer. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate you, mate. The program we're discussing here today is called Tachyon Warp. This works on intraday, daily, and weekly bars. Juan says, I got Spanish support. Si hablas español, tenemos un hermano quien puede hablar contigo. Y él tiene la programa y puede hablar contigo sobre la operación. Pregúntame si quiere hablar con él. So Tachyon Warp is thebomb.com. When I click on this link, this works with tick bars, range bars, wrinkle bars, volume bars, futures, forex, equities. It's designed for use with NinjaTrader 8, which plugs into Interactive Brokers. You can see the data from there. It plugs into TD Ameritrade, among other popular data feeds. You can also open an account with them if you'd like. It's no big deal. Or you can buy a data feed and use their platform for free. The link to the software, can you guys look in the chat box and tell me in 3, 2, 1 if the link shows up? It should say backtothefuturetrading.com/tachyon-time-warp. Bill, do you see that? Mohammed? Did you know when I was born that the name Michael was given to almost as many people in the 70s as to people who named their sons Muhammad? Number 1 and number 2, close tie. I was like, man, never first. I'm not named after John Travolta, no. My daughter's roommate in college, she's attending Embry-Riddle University for astronomy and astrophysics. Her roommate is a pilot, and she lives in the neighborhood where John Travolta lives, Bill. And she calls him Mr. Travolta and did not know that he starred in the movie Grease. They showed her clips from Grease. You're the one that I want. You are the one I want. Woo, woo, woo. And she died laughing to the point of tears. And she said, oh my God, I never knew. And there he is in his leather jacket. Tell me more, tell me more. We literally broke her when I showed her that YouTube clip. He's just Mr. Travolta. So you never know who you're going to meet. Side note, Abby also met Morgan Freeman's grandson at the college, and apparently he's kind of full of himself. Not the nicest guy. Didn't think that would be the case. But when you click on that Buy Now button, he's studying to be a pilot. We have a class, an add-on that's discounted 25% when you first purchase. If you like to learn in real time, we have a moderator. My best friend runs a room. He keeps track of the setups, has a track record. Overall, consistently profitable, theoretically, hypothetically, of course. And he's got a fairly simple system that he uses these signals with, and he'll walk you through it day after day, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 to 12 Eastern. If you're trading futures, it's a great opportunity. If you trade equities and Forex too, he'll help you out. That's available if you want it or need it. Some people like having their handheld for a little while. It's only $149 a month, and you can cancel anytime. No obligation. If you don't want that, I don't want it either. Click on the blue link, go to the room, go to the checkout without the room, and then this thing appears. Geez Louise. This is a promise to you that we're going to make sure everything is right all the time. We do want you to know that you have to have a computer bought in the last 10 years. Don't bring me your Tandy 1000 Commodore 64 Amiga PET computer and say, hey, it's locking up my programs. You're not running quickly anymore. You've got to have at least 2 gigs of RAM. You've got to have a P4 processor or higher. Cut it out. What are you doing? Please don't steal the code or try to hack it. We'll see it when you do. We've got little things on there. The program resides as a NinjaTrader indicator on your computer. It's not tied to us in any way, shape, or form other than verifying your license. If you are mean to the people who support you, we have lovely people such as Rachel and Tim and Brian. If we find that you're being abusive and not being amenable when we try to help you, you run the risk of losing your license as well. So let's just be nice to each other. Click the X in the bottom of the screen. And now we get to the best part. If you believed anything I said here today, here's where it gets really awesome. Number one, this is a lifetime license. I don't want you to buy anything else from me unless you want to. No fees, no monthly fees, no yearly maintenance fees. I forgot to charge you more money fees. It's a lifetime license. You get 2 licenses. You want to share it with your buddy? Uncle Bill up the street knows a little bit about gold. Split it with him. I don't care. Your mom likes to dabble in the arts. Knock yourself out. People learn together. They actually learn faster. This is also free installation. It's going to take about 30 minutes, and if you're comfortable with someone logging on your computer via GoToMeeting, we're going to make sure that everything is running copacetically. There's no issues. It also comes with free training. We're going to make sure that we spend at least 60 minutes to you. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 hours, depending on the complexity of what you're looking at. And we're also going to save all your workspaces and templates with the most effective settings for the markets that you're trading. So we've been doing it 12 years. We don't expect you to learn this from scratch. We'd like to kind of put you in the markets right away so you can go earn some money, potentially. In addition to that, we have a free video training archive so you can learn at your own pace, go back and review things, hit the pause button, go, You have a brain fart and you need to sit down and eat a sandwich, come back, press play, keep going. You also have access to our undying gratitude. We are an American company. We're a small company. We're a family. We are small and mighty. We fight with each other. We have disagreements some of the time, but most of the time we enjoy each other's company. We laugh. We're all growing here, becoming better every day at helping one another. Oh, in regards to that, if you want to know what other people thought about us before you got here, we have a 4.7 out of 5 Trustpilot rating. These are verified customer purchases. We can't fake them. In fact, anyone here that you want to speak to will probably speak to you. They own the software. They're happy to tell you what their experiences have been. They're all about that base. And everyone in here is somewhere between a 4 and a 5. And they're real people. So we pay a lot of money to participate with Trustpilot to make sure they verify these are actual purchases. Someone gets on here and they're not a real person. We're not faking them. These are real people. So if that excites you, yay. Undying gratitude and access to a community of people who are equally committed to being the best traders they can be as well. Then finally, promo code. Here's the best part. We want to keep it affordable. We want to make sure that everybody has access to it. We feel a fair price for this program for the rest of your life is WARP OFF. WARP OFF. And when you plug that promo code into the button and hit apply, it takes $500 off the price. Bam. Bam. 1995. I showed you one day, one contract. One half of one of the setups I taught you was $1,200 today in one day. Cut it out. Go ask your grandma for an advance on the trust fund. Tell your wife You're going to stay at the part of Disney that's a couple miles away from Epcot Center instead of staying at the hotel with the giraffes. Cut it out. You know you need this. You know you want it. I want you to have it. So you're going to get 2 licenses, lifetime access, free training, free installation, custom workspaces and templates. Will record the whole training session for you so you can go back and reference it. And if you're a PayPal customer, they'll even let you finance it. I think it's 6 months, no interest, paid off at the end of 6 months, use profits. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but we're here to support you. Does anyone have any questions about that? Any questions about that as we wrap up here today? No? Okay, cool. Well, it's been an honor to work with everybody here today. I'm glad that you sat here and you endured my shenanigans. When we started, I hoped that you would be enlightened and/or entertained. My father said something that I want to pass on to you. He's no longer with me. He passed away when he was 58. I watched him work hard for other people his whole life. Pan American Airlines laid him off. Shortly afterwards, his heart broke in his chest. And I learned at that point that I would never rely on big corporations for my future again. I would be the captain of my ship. Oh, captain, my captain. And if I could stick it to the big guys, any chance I could, I would. And I believe this is an opportunity to really bring it to them. But he said to me, intention without action is useless. Right now, there's a feeling in your head that says, I'm thinking about buying it, which is almost as good as purchasing it. I'm thinking about it, and it feels good, like thinking about giving somebody your seat on the bus. You almost did it, and that feeling is almost as good as actually doing the thing. It's going to be difficult the first few days. Learning something new is challenging, it's hard. But we've made it as easy as possible for you to sit at the screen, look at the times, understand the setup, analyze the risk and the reward, and decide if the trade is worth it or not. Every morning, every day, less stress, knowing what's coming potentially before it does, playing the rules of the game as they actually are versus what you believe them to be. Intention without action is useless. You have to make the next step. So please, we've taken all potential deceit away from this presentation. We've seen the signals without any interference from us. We've seen the system applied without any interference from us. This is real. I'll leave it to you. May the wind be at your backs. May the sun shine upon your face. May the valleys lay low before you. May the valleys rise up, forgive me, to meet you. Got ahead of myself. And the mountains you face lay low before you. I believe this year will have as many opportunities as challenges as we come out of the COVID year of our lives. I believe also the volatility in the market will be unprecedented. There will be signals that you take at these times that move so far, so fast. The smile on your face will be semi-permanent. And if you analyze the risk and you get in at those times and it takes off up or down, and you're up 10 ticks, 10 points, 100 ticks, 100 points, I want you to think back and remember this day when you understood what was really going on in the markets you trade. Time is the most important factor in determining market movements, and by studying the past records, you can determine that history does repeat, and that by knowing the past, you can tell the future. William knew it, and now you know it. Everyone have a great night, and to our new customers, welcome on board.